Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. I am here today with JM Ryerson. JM is an author, mindset coach, and host of Let's Go Win podcast, who has been building companies and leading sales teams for over 20 years. JM is the co-founder and CEO of Let's Go Win, whose mission is to increase leadership, enhance culture, and help teams achieve peak performance. JM believes that everything rises and falls on leadership. Based on this belief, he spent his career focused on enriching the lives of others while continuing to educate himself on best practices in leadership, vulnerability, and teamwork. His ability to impart some of this knowledge might be his greatest contribution to you and your team's success. JM's great passions are inspiring people to live their best lives and become open to what life has in store for them. His ultimate goal is to give others the tools that will allow them to transcend their self-limiting beliefs. There is nothing more inspiring than to watch someone achieve more than they could ever imagine. That is why JM considers it a real privilege to be part of other people's incredible journeys. JM was raised in Montana and lives in Boca Raton, Florida, with his wife Lisa and their two amazing boys. This is a perfect episode for the new year. We talked about setting and creating goals, why your why is crucial and key to keeping your commitments, to setting your goals, and to actually achieving the win. How a winning mindset is key to winning, not focusing on the end result. How you can win whether you win or not. There's always a win to be had, and you're truly winning when you learn from losing. So that's a tweetable right there. Why our core values are the driver in how everything we do. Why routines and habits are crucial to win. And winning is doing what you said you're going to do. That's a win. So celebrating your wins, because when you are focusing on your wins, you're going to create more wins, which is going to create momentum, which is going to be like this snowball effect. So winning, therefore, in my mind, is a habit. So how to create that habit and the benefits of journaling, how to let go of limited beliefs, how to empower and inspire your team, whether it's your husband and wife team, your family team, your team at work, your team in an athletic event. You're always on some sort of a team. So he talks a lot about how we can all win and stepping away from the lack mentality of if you win, I lose, and embracing the abundance mindset. And last of all, how to create our own luck in life. We talked a lot about relationships. This was so good. I loved JM's positive mindset today. And if I am Pollyanna, then he is the match to that because his glass was totally full today. So I hope you guys enjoy this and make sure you take notes on everything he said. It was gold today. I am so excited to welcome JM Ryerson to the Sisterhood of Sweat today. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I love the name of your title, the books, everything. So I'm not a sister, but I'm glad to be here.
Hey, you can be a brotherhood in the sisterhood.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
We all have, our brothers. So, hey, we were talking today before we started. It's leg day at the Sisterhood of Sweat, and it's leg day for JM. And he said he was doing leg press and what else?
I hack squats and leg press, and I didn't even get close to the amount of lunges you did. So I won't even mention my minuscule amount of lunges. So I kind of wussed out towards the end of the workout. But yeah, a lot of leg press today. I don't know why.
And it was early for me when I did the leg workout. Cardio came a little later, but the girls at the studio were like, because there were so many, it was exorbitant in the amount of lunges. When they saw that not only was it overhead plate lunges, but then it was barbell lunges, I could sense a rebellion.
It's a heck of a way to get the year started. So I love it. It's as we were talking about it, it feels good. I know in the moment you're like, oh, this is awful, or at least that goes through my head. But then you feel so darn good once you're done.
And you said that you make sure to get your workout in because like it lifts your mood, right? It's totally nature's antidepressant, but it like gives you that mood boost so you're not cranky.
It's so true. You know, I meditate every single day. It's something I do. However, the state of flow, you know, because the optimal performance a human being could be in, that happens for me, at least brain wise, far more often when I work out than any other time. I'll have those days where you're just going, and I know I worked out. Like I know I was there for an hour, 45 minutes, but it's just gone. And you're just have these moments of clarity. So it is 100% for me. Yes, to take care of the body. I want to live a long time. I want to move, and I'm, grow up an athlete, but it's more for my mind than my body. It's not even close for me.
That's when I get all my big ideas. The juices, like you said, you're in flow. I had this dream and a vision of this retreat, this wild horses retreat I want to do. And I literally was in yoga and it just came to me exactly how I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with. It just all came together. And I can't tell you how many times that happens during like running or a workout where you got all your juices flowing so that you can get in flow. And I know you are like the let's go win guy, and working out sets you up to win. But why is winning not all about the end result?
Well, because I don't know anybody that's undefeated. Look, plain and simple, you're going to win, you're going to lose. But the point of Let's Go Win is to set people up to win every single day, put yourself out there. So for instance, we're talking about the body part of taking care of three things I think every human being should every single day: the mind, the body, and the soul. Or the spirit, depends which. Some people like soul, some people spirit. But either way, those are the three things I think we all need to do. And so it's so fascinating to me that in order for me to really get my mind right, I actually have to take care of the body first. And I think that's all the endorphins that get going. But Let's Go Win is all about just setting yourself up to win every single day. Because look, it's a habit. Losing is a habit, as is winning. And if we just upgrade a couple things every single day, I'm not saying change. Look, change is hard for people, but if you just upgrade, so maybe you get up a little bit earlier, maybe you read a little bit more, maybe you make a better choice when it comes to your diet, but not sweeping changes, just upgrade a little bit so that you can win every single day. So I'm just obsessed with the idea of winning. I love to win. And I want to help as many people as humanly possible do the same, whether that's in health, in business, in relationships. I'm just passionate about it. And it's really every single day I wake up excited to go help.
So good. And I was looking at some of your materials today, and one thing that struck me that I totally agree with, and I want you to give the audience your take on why winning is a mindset.
Well, it's plain simple. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And I think it's one of the most profound quotes I've ever heard, because quite literally, if you don't think you can win today, that game, you absolutely will not. I don't know at any point if I say to myself, I can't do this, I'm right. I cannot do it. But if I just shift that and I just take out the T, yeah, I can do this. That doesn't mean I'm going to win every single day. I promise you. I had actually a relatively crappy morning after my workout today, but you know what? That's going to happen. And I know how to get reset to get right back in it, because we're all going to face adversity. Our dogs are going to die and our tires are going to go flat, and we're going to adversity is going to strike us. But how do you get back up and make sure that you can go win the next opportunity, that's the process that I want people to really grab a hold of, because it's not going to be set up perfectly. And that's why you put in the practice. That's why you have your routines. That's why you have these things in place, so that when the adversity comes, I can get right back up and go win again.
My philosophy is, whether you win the game, the contest, the competition, whatever it is you're trying to win, you always have a win, even if you didn't win. So if you could focus on those wins, eventually you're going to win, right?
It's absolutely true. I mean, I say you actually learn more from losing or failing than you do winning, right? That's the misnomer about all this. When I've had companies that didn't do as well as they should have, or let's say crappy quarters or whatever is going on, you learn from those things.
Yeah.
The only time you wouldn't win or is if you didn't learn from that mistake.
Or you
if
quit.
You make the same mistake again and again, right?
Yeah.
That would be the only loss, in my opinion, where it's like, why didn't you learn from that failure, loss, whatever? That's the only time I can really consider it a loss, is if you didn't learn from it and grow from it.
Well, absolutely, because you're going to just keep repeating it. Whatever, if you don't look and evaluate to see, well, let's see, I messed up here. What should my strategy be going forward? What did I learn from this? What can I take from this experience into my next one? Then you truly did lose.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we see it time and again. So 100%, that's you learn from it.
And what do you think the characteristics are of a winner? Like, I mean, the mindset that has to be there in order to win. Give us a few of things that you think every winner should have.
So truly belief in whatever you're doing. And that is one of the biggest things that all winners they believe they can do it. Even if it's something that people are like, you're crazy. So like, I think of the Elon Musks of the world. He's been called crazy countless times, but guess what? He believes he can do it, and he does. Or, Steve Jobs was another example where it's like, you can't do that. You can't put this little, what was an iPad or iPhone, and you can't do all that. And he did. So that is the first thing, is belief. You have to believe, right? That is the number one thing. The second thing is joy. Enjoy what you're doing, because for instance, if we sat here and we found why we love to work out, and you're clearly a professional. I'm looking at that picture. My goodness, it's amazing. But you enjoy it. But I'm sure there's times that there's not joy in the process, but you want to find that joy, whether it's during the workout, after the workout. What is the joy? Why am I doing it? And then the last thing is that purpose. Ultimately, why are we doing all this? And I believe everybody just wants to be happy. In this world, the one commonality that I've found, I've never met anybody that's like, I want to be miserable. I've met people that are miserable, but I've never heard somebody actually say, this is what I aim to be. You may have some miserable moments, but it is a choice, and you get to choose that. So in my opinion, it's belief, it's joy, and it's truly knowing the purpose, which is we want to be happy.
And getting tuned into that and getting clarity around the purpose and the why. I always say you got to know your why before you go moving forward into the dream or the goal. If I don't know why I want to do it, I'm not going to stick with it very long. I'm not going to be very committed to it. And then that's when you don't achieve it, right?
Yeah. And what's so funny, and you were talking about this earlier today, or earlier on the episode, When you had that moment, and I think you were talking about an event that you're putting together, that was probably something you had thought about and thought about and thought about, but it just didn't come to you. And then you have this moment of clarity. And now you know the why, the how, it all just like floods in. In fact, that happened for me at a workout in November. So much so I completely shifted my entire marketing for the company because of one workout. And the reason is I know exactly what I need to do. Now, I've been thinking about it and I've been helping people and doing these various things. And I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly what I need to do. But isn't it funny that sometimes we just need to not be thinking or so focused on whatever the issue is, and that's when the answers will come.
I mean, it was, I'm going to tell it in another episode, but it was just beyond crazy how the whole thing came together, and just one of those where you get the chills kind of moment, and and I think it really does make a difference in the altitude you achieve when you dial in like that and you know why you want it. Because I will tell you, I just realized some of these goals I've had that are coming to me this year all of a sudden like that. First of all, I asked and received. Second of all, I knew why I wanted it. Knowing why you want something, you're a lot more likely to get it. It's just, it's like not like me saying, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, I mean, I may want to, but like, that's not concrete enough. Like if I say, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro because I want to build my belief that I can do it. I want to raise money for domestic violence or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, having that, it's like the universe just responds to that drive and that why and that heartfelt reason.
No, you're right. And you said it. You asked, then you were willing to receive, knowing your why. So when the bad things happen, so I use this with business clients quite a bit. What is your purpose of going to work? Well, it's to make money. Okay, why? Because I need to provide a home. Why? Because I care about my family. So you get to the family, or the kids typically is what you get down to. When you put a picture of your kids right next to your goal, if that's your why, it doesn't matter the how, because as parents, you absolutely will tear through this wall to save your kids, to make sure that you're providing for them. And that's why those whys are so important. It's like, look, if you're not clear on that why, you're just going to work, and it's just one of those things. So then your coworker's being a jerk. Well, now it turns into this big thing. But if you're like, wait a minute, I deal with that coworker because I have this amazing child I want to take care of, you'll deal with many coworkers that are not the best. And that's just the way it is. So when you have your why, everything comes so much easier.
And I really think when it's bigger than you too, like it's not just about you, but it's inclusive of others. Like how you said earlier before we started, that it's not lonely at the top and that we can all win. I think when your why is just, it's bigger than you, then the smaller things that happen that might have ruffled your feathers before, you're just like, I can just let that roll off because it's just a distraction. It's taking away from my bigger vision, and it just seems to like elevate you even, I think.
No, it's true. When you think about it, let's imagine going to a birthday party. If you were at a birthday party celebrating just you, no one else was there, just you having a birthday party. That sucks. That's terrible. But if you're at a birthday party and it's okay in your honor, but you're with 20 of your best friends and you're celebrating, that's what I think of what you just said. It's like, yes, it is bigger than me. I want to be surrounded by these people. Why people ever think it's lonely at the top? If you think that, you're right. And that's the whole abundance scarcity thing that I love.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
Yeah. And it's like, there's so much available. We can create anything, or we can create anything the other way as well. That's why our mindset is so, it's awesome. and it's also extremely destructive. So that's where we have to be careful about what we're thinking about. What do we believe? If we believe we can do it, you're absolutely correct.
What you're talking is scarcity, and we can all fall into the scarcity mindset, and you have to work on it. And I know I'm in a different place than I used to be, because I had this idea. It's like, it's a great idea, and I'm inviting people in to collaborate. And, when you start to collaborate, oh my God, that person could just run with this, and they could steal my idea. And I thought, well, if they do, I don't know if I want to do it again anyway. So I was like, I know I want to do it this time, and we're going to collaborate and bring something cool. But I was just kind of not worried about it, because I know that I'm following my heart, my purpose, and what's for me is for me, and what's for you is for you. And there's plenty to go around. And you could have your own thing over here, and I can have my thing, and we're abundant. And this whole like lack mentality, I think we all get stuck in it, because it is very true. When you put your good ideas out there, somebody might think it's a good idea and grab it.
You're right. And I've had it happen, right?
Yeah,
It has
I've had
happened
it
in
happen.
business.
Yeah.
However, if you don't put your idea out there, it's guaranteed not to work.
Exactly.
So it's one of those funny things. Like, people are, in my opinion, are not wired to lie, cheat, steal your ideas, your thoughts. People like to be a part of something. They like to grow. And if you welcome them in to say, hey, I want your ideas, let's grow this thing together.
Exactly.
When you put that out there, yes, you could have a bad apple. It is possible, but
Right.
it's so unlikely. Don't just, I love what you said there. Put your idea out there and let the others add to it.
And then the collaboration is so much more fun, and you're probably not thinking of everything. They're going to bring more like, well, you should be thinking bigger. Well, what if we did this and this? And then pretty soon your small dream is a big dream, and you're stepping into it. And if our dreams are too small and we easily achieve them, think how much more we really could have done if we would have just went for them.
Well, it's so true. It's one thing that's so a big part of why I always work with teams, because the whole team aspect is so much fun. When I talk to former athletes on my podcast, you never hear them talk about, oh, I remember this game, I remember this. They always talk about the camaraderie with the other players on their team, the road trips that they had, the experiences they went through. And you will find that unless you ask a very pointed question, people naturally like to be involved with other people, to collaborate, to work on something, as you said, something bigger than themselves. And so that's where Let's Go Win. It's all about that. I love working with teams.
And teams are not just for athletes. It's in the workplace. At home, are you working as a team with your spouse or significant other? How can we become more team players instead of, I want, I need,
This is such a great question, because letting your teammates, so your spouse, significant other, your kids, know that they're on the team. First off, hey, we are a team. We're going to do this together. That is literally step one. Give permission for them to say, this is not a monarchy. This isn't not me being authoritative. We're a team. We're going to work together to accomplish whatever goal that is. So as a family, we have our family goals. We also have our family values. And so often I'll talk to families when they're struggling. I'm like, hey, tell me what your family values are. And typically I get a blank stare back, because they haven't done that. They've heard to do values in business, or they've heard to do it with their sports team. But when it comes to their most precious team, their family team, they never thought to say, hey, what about having family values, and then actually making sure that we're all aware of it. So we have our values up. So my two kids and my wife and I, we all know exactly what they are. So if I'm not operating, so courage is one of ours. If I'm operating through fear and not courage, my kids have the permission to say, hey, Dad, is that fear talking? doesn't sound like courage. And it just makes that conversation so much easier. And conversely, if they operate a love as another one, you hit your brother. Was that out of love? No, it wasn't. Okay. It just makes it so much easier than don't do this because I'm dad and I told you so. I go right to the family values. So to work more as a team, let them know they're part of the team. Let them know what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, I found that telling your dreams to each other, having common dreams, common goals, and then your own individual. So every year now, we sit down as a family and we say our wins, the goals we achieved from last year. And then we say what we want to achieve this year. So all of our goals for the year, we set common goals as a family. So I think when you know what people's dreams are and they know what yours are, it's a lot easier to understand one another. And they know where you're coming from. They know why you're doing what you're doing. You included them, you involved them. They're a lot more likely to be supportive of what you're doing and to back up your dreams when you're backing up their dreams and you care about what they want.
Well, you said it, the support. How do they know how to support you if they don't know what you're trying to do? Or how do they know how to celebrate you when you have accomplished whatever? That's one of the best parts about winning or being on a team, right, is that celebration. Like, right, when you guys finish your workout today, your 160 lunges, which I'm still throwing up in my mouth about, but when you finish those lunges, I guarantee there was celebration. I guarantee there was high fives and like that nod, like, great job. That feels good. I don't know why people don't. I'm obsessed with that feeling. I love giving out high fives. I love to receive them. So why don't we do more of it? Instead of just going through life and just operating as like every single, oh, just another day. No, let's live it. Let's celebrate it. And by doing that, you guys will get that chance together. And that's so cool.
Yeah, because I think in the past, before my husband knew my why, number one, why I was doing all these crazy things, it really changed the game when he knew why I was doing what I was doing, what my reason and purpose and my dreams were, and vice versa, me knowing his and knowing what we want to do together, because otherwise you could be two ships that are going that way, right? Instead of like a powerful, like, boat going forward. And so I really think this is key for anybody listening. If you're doing really well on an athletic team or you're doing really well at work, but you're having struggles in your relationship, I really think just knowing people, what their dreams and visions are, and having the moment where you sit down and do that together, it's life-changing, really.
And as I don't know how long you and your husband have been married, but you change. Yeah. So you weren't the same person you were at 25 that you'll be at 35, that you'll be at 45.
Right.
And so you have to share those things. It also gives grace to where, again, you're doing all these crazy things. He's thinking, well, that's just time away from me. What the heck? But instead, now it's like, no, that I want to give her that chance to really to grow and go accomplish these things, because then you get to show up as your best version as the spouse or mom or whatever hat you're wearing in that moment.
Well, as a couple, instead of when he wins, I lose, or when she wins, I lose, it's win-win, because if your spouse gets a big piece of the pie, you're part of that pie. And I think it's just human nature sometimes to feel maybe like if your spouse is winning and you're not setting goals, you may not feel like, and then there's this unequalness. But I think when you start setting goals together and your spouse realizes that when you win, they win, and vice versa, celebrate their wins and give them acknowledgement and recognition, that makes everything better.
No, you're right. Well, here's the other thing. They can help you say that big, scary goal that you really are scared to even say out to the world. When you verbalize it, you talked about the universe before, it conspires to help you. But if you're afraid to say whatever that dream is, so I want to make $300 million. Okay. Maybe that's your goal. Cool. Until you're willing to at least say it, there's no chance it happens. You have to be able to, and you're in that safe zone with your spouse where you should be able and free to say everything, and they can support you. And even if they look at you, say, that's crazy. All right. Why not? Let's go get it.
Well, you got to show your dreams you mean them. And when you show your partner you're serious, that usually gets their attention. And at first they may just be like, what idea is this now?
Oh, I get that all the time. She's like, seriously, again? Because I'm talking about the next book. And she's like, come on. I'm like, babe, it's just what I want. Okay. All right. And she knows what that entails, but it's like, all right, now I understand why you're going to have to grind these extra hours, but she supports it, just like her goals and dreams. So,
Yeah, I mean, and just, I think having those times where you get together and you actually talk about your hopes and dreams, it's key to any relationship to strengthen it. And also, if you want to be a power couple instead of just a couple, supporting each other, that rocks, because then you can really get some stuff done.
so true. So true. Why not have the best relationship the world's ever seen? Why not shoot for that? Like, instead of just having a very average relationship. No, let's share this stuff. Let's share who we are. So we could talk about this for hours, because there's a lot of deep stuff that we can get into, but it is amazing.
So moving a little bit along, what are 3 keys to overcoming self-limiting beliefs? Because I think many times, more often than not, that's what is holding you back from winning.
So the first thing is realizing that I have this belief, right? Like actually saying I have this self-limiting belief, which, by the way, you probably were preconditioned with before you really had your like long-term memory. That's the part that kind of stinks. It's like you inherited some junk from your parents, who inherited from their parents, who inherited from theirs. And this gets conditioned at a very young age. So once you can just say it aloud, like, okay, this is my limiting belief. Okay. Is it real? Typically the answer is going to come back, no. You believe it, but it's not. You've created it in your own head. So if you can recognize that you have this belief, then you can ask, is it real? Then you respond in direct opposite, because fear holds us back from obtaining the life that we really want to live. And I don't care if it's your dream car, your dream spouse, your dream whatever. It's fear that's going to hold you back. So the first thing, and I won't say it on air because I don't know if I can cuss, but one of the books is all about, it's blank fear. And there's 3 R's that I say. You have to recognize, then you have to release that fear. Now, how you can do that? So I recognize I have this fear of money. I write that down. Now, you can either burn it, tear it, eat it. I really don't care, but you do something to release that fear, get it out of you, and then you respond directly in the face of it in whatever manner is opposite that the way that you've been going. If you do those 3 R's, you will take those self-limiting beliefs and you will start to just exterminate them. They will no longer be present because you recognize them. Cool. Write it down. Cool. Burn it. And then respond directly. If you follow that 3R approach, it's incredible how effective that is.
I love that. That's good, because that's simple and easy to remember. And I know, like, being afraid, you have to face the fear, and you have to move through the fear, because then you look back and you're like, wow, I was so afraid in 2016 of this, and 2017 of this, and 2018, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and I did all those things and it was fine, and I was more than fine. And wow, I let that fear hold me back for a year from doing this, for a year from doing this. And when you look back, you're like, what was I ever so afraid of? And your fear does hold you back.
No, it's true. And I mean, think of fear, false evidence appearing real. That's what the acronym I use for fear. It's not real. And so you're creating whatever this fear is. Now, if you have a fear of snakes, I'm not saying go pick one up. That's not what I'm saying. A real fear for
I
some
was
reason.
thinking along those lines.
But typically, yeah, you have created something that's not even real. And then here's the other thing. If you think those negative thoughts, you will attract that to you. So if you're like, I don't want to be broke, you are literally going to be broke. That's just the way it works.
Yeah, don't ever say I don't want to.
So true. I want X. I am this. But also being okay with the fact that you're going to have fears. We all have them. Recognize it, release it, and respond directly in opposite.
Oh my gosh. And I've told this story before, but it's what you're focusing on is what you don't want. You're going to get it. Because I just remember thinking, I don't want to drop my hearing aids in the toilet. I don't want to drop my hearing aids in the toilet. I dropped my hearing aids in the toilet. Yes. And actually they survived, but just thinking about what you don't want to do, you're more likely to end up doing that thing. And if I think about what I want, how I succeeded before, I'm more likely to succeed again. I'm more likely to get what I want because your mind, when you're focusing in a negative way, it's only getting that negative information.
So isn't that crazy? And that story with the hearing aids, that's so true. I watch it with parents all the time. Don't do, and as they're saying it, the kid falls down. And if they just didn't say it aloud, just the kid's gonna probably be okay. And I mean, obviously use your discretion, but it's like that hearing aid story is so spot on, and you'll see it in our lives all the time.
Oh my goodness. Now, we're learning to get rid of our limited beliefs, to overcome fear, to get rid of lack mentality, that winning is a mindset. We are learning so much today. Now, I think this is really key for anybody, especially since this is a new year, that has jumped on the fitness and health bandwagon. How can someone out there create and keep momentum so they can get those results, which keeps them motivated?
And are we talking specific to working out or just anything in general?
It can be anything in general.
So the first thing is just, we talked about it. Recognize your why. Why do I want to do anything? Cool. Write it down. You are literally, so this is a perfect time to talk about it. They did a study on New Year's resolutions. You are 70% more likely to accomplish that resolution a year from now by simply writing it down. Now, you're an additional 20% likely if you actually look at it every single day. So if that is, they've tracked this. If that is the case, write down whatever your goals are. It is the most simple thing. And I call it the mirror method. You literally write your goals down and you put it in your bathroom mirror, because I look at it when I brush my teeth in the morning and I look at it when I brush my teeth at night. So at least twice a day, I know I'm going to see it. And it's going to remind me that I need to do X, Y, and Z. Now, there are lots of small tips to make sure that, you know, you go work out, like setting yourself up to win by putting your clothes out. There's lots of little things like that. But the overarching thing is write it down, look at it. And when you hit those goals, celebrate it. You're more likely to keep going if you say, great job. You know what, JM? You said you're going to do this. Great job. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug, go reward yourself with whatever. And then you're going to want to do it again. And we are wired that way as human beings to say, ooh, that feels good. I want some more of that. And so you continue to win. And it starts with that first win, and then you follow it up with a second. And then it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. Then it's really tough to stop that snowball rolling down the hill. Now, the other thing I will say is just try not to get out of practice for too long. So let's say you miss a day. Let's say you even miss 2 days in a row. Just do everything in your power not to miss that third, because like we were talking about, laziness is habitual, just like working hard is as well. So if you can just find that little pattern, and by writing it down, seeing it, you're more likely to go achieve it.
Love that answer. And that kind of goes into the next thing I want to talk about, because routines. Why do you think they're so important, that winning truly is just a habit because of the routine you built?
Well, whenever you go on vacation, you'll feel it. You're like, oh, it's really fun. Don't get me wrong, but I don't feel at my very best, right? And it happens to me every time I get out of my routine. And once you find that routine that's best for you, whatever that is, and some people it's working out early in the morning, some people it's at night, and it really doesn't matter. I used to always, it has to be this certain way. That's just not the case. I just know that if you get it done, you take care of your mind, your body, and your soul every single day, you are going to find a way to win. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a moment, but it is just one of those, if you get into that routine, that's what it was. If you have that routine, you don't have to think so hard. It's just like, okay, I know at this time I'm doing this. I know at this time I'm doing that. And it starts to feel good. And then you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't feel as good. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to add this in. And you start to just keep just kind of playing with it till you find that perfect routine. And you're like, okay, got it. But here's the other thing, spice it up. Because after a while, if I have the same sandwich every single day for the next 10 years, that sandwich is going to get really old and tired. So instead, maybe I'd switch that up just a little bit. I just slightly tweak that routine so that it stays fresh. It stays exciting. And so that for me, routines, my entire life is based on it. And it makes it easy for everyone around me because they know, okay, Dad, he went to the gym. He's feeling in a great mood. He went to do this. He's ready to do this. So routines are huge.
So I don't know about you, JM, but when I have a workout, I don't plan to have a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, any type of appointment, because I've already made an appointment with myself, which is a commitment. And so to have like a routine, I mean, it's almost a religious habit for me to make sure I am getting my workouts in. I get them in early in the morning where barely anything could interfere. And I make that a commitment. Don't you think, like, I mean, I'm not saying like if you're having an issue that you shouldn't go to the doctor, but I'm saying, couldn't you plan, like if you were really committed to this routine and you want to win, wouldn't you plan around that and be like, yeah, I can't do it at that time, but I can do it at this time?
Yeah, I've got a couple things. So not showing up to that commitment for yourself is so incredibly important because you don't want to lie to yourself. That you build confidence by saying, I'm going to do this, and you end up doing it. The other thing, and this is so interesting with my female clients, typically when I start working with the females, I'm like, hey, tell me what we're working on. And they always start talking about everyone else around them. And I'm like, I stop them for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. You need to take care of you first. So by you being so unselfish, it's actually the most selfish act that you can do. I want you to be more selfish so that you can take care of these people long term, but that requires you to take care of you first. So it is absolutely, you need to make sure that you take care of you first so that you can take care of everyone else. That is the fascinating thing when it comes to, again, I'm going to generalize with females just because they're so maternal and loving. When I work with them, it's the first thing we typically work on is, when do you take care of you? And they will go
so good
day. And I'm like, what about you? So yes, schedule it, make sure it's in there. Now, there is one thing I will say, because I used to write down, meditate 10 minutes a day. And if I didn't meditate for 10 minutes, I just wouldn't do it at all. I also found myself, being a former athlete in college, used to work out 2 hours at least every single day. Well, as I got into my professional career, I was like, oh, if I don't have 2 hours, I guess I just won't work out. That doesn't make sense either. So sometimes you do have to evolve and change your goals
Yeah.
to actually fit your lifestyle.
Or
So
how can you fit it in?
yeah, exactly. Like I want to make sure that I sweat at least once a day. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I meditate at least once a day. That doesn't mean that I'm going to have the greatest workouts ever or the worst
Yeah.
ones, but I know I'm going to sweat.
Maybe, that's the other aspect too, would be, well, I really need to go and this tooth is killing me, let's just say. And so I really need to get in, but I still want to get my workout in. So how much time could maybe I could do HIIT today and it'll be less and not as long. Or when can I fit it in today if I'm going to have to miss? But I think being committed to your routine is the key to your success. And so setting a routine and accomplishing it and doing it, that's key.
Oh, 100%. Like maybe you walk to the doctor's appointment. That's your workout. I mean, there's lots of things you can do, but again, when you write it down, you literally check it off. Like this is just what I'm going to do today. You're more likely. You're like 90% more likely than if you didn't.
And I love your whole thing about putting your goals on the mirror, because we write ours down and the one year, let's see, 8 out of 10, boom, got them. The next year, 7 out of 10, which is this year, boom. And I'm almost ready to check the rest off the list. So I'll get to 10 a little bit after the year. But I thought about it and I was like, geez, how many times did I pull these out this year? How much more likely would I have been to get all 10 if I'd have put them on the mirror, like you said, because you need to look at them, reaffirm them. And if you look at a goal and you think, no, I just did that because I thought I should, mark it off and put something up there that you truly, truly want.
No, it's well, and life's going to happen. So that's when we forget to do our goals, right? Because again, we had something catastrophic happen. Well, that's always going to happen. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go accomplish your goals. That's just, like you said, a distraction or something that got in your way. So I hope you do. I hope you put it out in front. And it is like the most simple thing. And I just love looking at it because it reminds you, oh, this is what I got to be doing.
Right. Because it reminds me, it'll remind you of what you said you wanted. And then you start thinking about how to accomplish it. Just having those simple goals up on your mirror. I love it. Now, I equally think, besides writing it down, there's a benefit to journaling. Why do you think it's beneficial to journal? What and how should, what's a good way for somebody to get started and begin?
That's such a good question. I told you I'm not a self-promotion guy, and I try not to be. But literally, the second book is for this whole idea of journaling, because I've had people, I'm like, do you journal? Well, no, I don't even know how. I wouldn't even know how to start. You just start writing. The beautiful thing about journaling, it is the most free form of therapy I know of, because you have all this stuff in your head. And if you don't get it out, again, I call it releasing. If you don't release it, it's going to just stay up there and keep going like this. And we have approximately 60,000 thoughts go through our head. Not all of them are good. So when we have some of those, we want to be able to just write it down. The paper has never come back and said, hey, JM, you're crazy, or JM, you're awesome. It doesn't say anything. It literally doesn't judge anything that I have to say, but it allows me to explore these things and say, oh, that's pretty good. Let's look at this a little deeper. Or, ooh, I really want to get rid of that. And then maybe I do. I burn it, I shred it, I do whatever I need to get rid of it. I love journaling. I think it's one of the most beneficial things anyone can do, because it allows you to just get your thoughts out onto paper.
So, give me an example of you journaling. When do you do it, and what kind of stuff comes out?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're really good at this. I say 3 things and write down 3 things I'm grateful for every day. That's the first most easy thing I think everyone should do, because it's going to put you in a place where, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for a lot of things: my kids, my health, my happiness, the weather, the coconut water, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'm very grateful for that. So that's the first thing, because you mentioned it earlier. I love talking about the wins, because that is going to get you in that habit of winning again. And then I'll say, how am I feeling today? And I'll just write, how am I feeling? Because there's 2 things that you're in complete control of. That's your attitude and your activity. How's yours today? And so it's like, how am I feeling today? Maybe I'm feeling crappy. Well, I don't want that stuck up here. I want to get it out on paper so that I can feel better. Then I'll say, was I triggered in any way? And maybe I was. Like I'll give you an example. At the gym today, as I'm grinding on my leg press, there's a guy on his cell phone. And I knew maybe that's why I was on there so darn long, because I was trying to block out this man having this loud conversation, but it triggered me negatively. And I had to go ahead and replace that with a positive, which is music for me. But I wrote about it. That triggered me today. Then I'll write about 3 things I need to get done that day. And then the last part, it's just open form. It's just, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want out of today? And I'll just write that down, and then I'll get clear with my goals, make sure I look at my to-do list. Is that in alignment? Sometimes it's not. I thought I was going to write today. I didn't. So that means I have to make up for that tomorrow, and I'll make sure to replace that. But I just like to get that out. It helps organize my day.
I really like everything you said. And I really love the part where you were talking about your wins creates more wins. And when you get in that mindset, like we could all be in the mindset of, I'll just say, he squeezes the toothpaste at the wrong end, and he leaves his dishes or his laundry or whatever. Or she spent so much money on her hair and so much time getting ready, and she's never ready on time. Or you could be like when you realize this person you married that you wanted to commit your life to, or that you're just going out with, whatever, is pretty good. Like they check this many boxes, and maybe there was a few things over here that just gets on your nerves, but look at the whole big picture and be like, what am I grateful for? Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. I would say my husband works so hard. He's so disciplined. He's such a great provider. He's such a great dad. He's funny and he's hot. All these things. And what that does then is you're focusing on the gratitude. You get more of those things. It's like the law of attraction, because when you are focusing on the negative and you are griping and complaining, whatever, you get more of that.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing. When you say it, guess what? Whatever you really like about it, he's going to bring more of his hotness, more of his amazing dad. That's just the way it works. Yeah. But if you're constantly hammering him about the toothpaste thing or whatever, guess what? He's going to do more of that. That's the way we all are. So I that is a simple practice, and it will change your entire perspective of your life, of your day, of your year. And why not start tomorrow?
I love that so much. So lastly, before you go, how can everybody bring more luck into their lives?
Ooh, just by creating it. Literally positive thinking. I know people may not want to hear that, but if you believe you're lucky, you're going to be. However, if you're like, I'm unlucky, I promise you, you are going to lose at whatever that next thing is. And I watch it with my son. Since he was my oldest boy, since he was a baby, we've said, oh, he's so lucky. That kid believes it, and it absolutely comes to fruition. He wins at everything that he does because he creates it. So quite literally, again, going back, if you believe that you're anything, if you believe you're beautiful, you're beautiful. If you believe you're not, unfortunately, you're not. That's just the way it works. So if you want to create more luck, just believe in something positive and put it out to the world. And
I love that. That is so great. And also, if you like what you said, we watch, well, I hate to confess, but we're watching basically the Byzantine Empire. We're watching on Netflix. We watched Osman, he created the Ottoman Empire. We're watching all this kind of swashbuckling TV. So we were laughing because I know it wasn't translated right, but the character said to the girl, "You are so ugly. You are so ugly." But I'm sure it was You are so beautiful. but to be beautiful, you need to feel beautiful. And so how can you create that environment for yourself?
Oh, it's, if you can't love yourself and if you can't truly, how can anyone else? Like literally, and it's the biggest truth. It starts with you. All your happiness, all that all starts internally. And so all these things we talked about, from meditation to journaling to gratitude, if you do these small things, it lights inside and then it starts to really reflect outside. Watch what happens. Everyone else will see it too. So that's pretty funny though. You're so ugly.
You were so ugly. We were just cracking up because we're like, what? It's pretty good. I may have to say this show, but so you have those moments. This has been so great today. Leave me with your favorite quote and how we can reach you and get your book.
Oh, well, I already gave you one of my favorites. Another one is, it's amazing what can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit. And Harry Truman said that. I think, again, when it goes back to winning, when it goes back to teammates, I don't care if you're doing the most individual thing in the world, you have a team surrounding you. And I work with a lot of athletes and they're individual, like tennis players. Guess what? You have a team surrounding you. So you're always on a team, whether you realize it or not. Best way to find me is letsgowin.com. You can go there, or JM Ryerson, Let's Go Win, anywhere on social media. And guys, I would love for you to check out the podcast, Let's Go Win. I try to make it as easy as possible. So I'd love to have you guys be a part of it.
Awesome. This has been so good today. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. I love your strategies and your PMA, your positive mental attitude. The glass is half full instead of half empty. And I can tell it's probably always like that with you. So this was really enjoyable. Everybody follow JM and get his book, Let's Go Win. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, JM.
Thank you.